Hello friends, and welcome to the very first episode of bumb'INGOMSO in Conversation With series. Here we'll be covering various topics affecting the youth in the country. And I am your host, Lihe. So it's beginning of the year and we're talking all things back to school. I mean, how do you survive transitioning from one grade to another? What support structures do learners need to thrive in schools? To help us unpack this and more, we've got a very, very special guest with us, Mrs Ngcebetsha from Ebenezer Majombozi High School in East London. She is a grade 12 English and history teacher with over 30 years teaching experience. You know this is going to be good. Let's get started. Before we even get to the interview, I've got some fun icebreaker questions, right? Okay. I just want to know, I feel like we need to know you better. Our friends need to know you better. I want to know you better. Okay. Are you a morning or night person?
A morning person.
Of course, aren't all teachers morning people? What an surprise. What can you not leave your house without? What is a must-have? You can't leave your house without this item.
It's my cell phone and my watch.
Really?
Yes.
You know, I didn't actually realize people still wear watches as much as...
I believe it. It's like I'm naked if I'm not wearing my watch.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I know that you've been teaching for more than 3 decades, but what has been your, I don't know, just your best or most favorite moment in teaching so far?
My favorite moment is the first days of my teaching life. I got into the profession at a very young stage, at 21. I started teaching 1989. I was so excited because I was teaching people who are very old than me, because in that era, in 1989, a lot of people were coming back from their workplaces, from the mines, because there was a call that people must get to schools. So there were a lot of old women and men whom I was teaching, and they gave me full respect. So it's when I started to like teaching, because I saw that teachers were regarded highly. They were given the high pedestal in the Department of Education that time. So that kept me a motivated person.
You know, now this brings me to my next question. I know that just like parents, teachers are not supposed to have favorites,
Of course.
but I just want to know, in the years that you've been teaching, is there a student that stood out for you, where you were just like, I still remember the student?
Oh, that is natural. There is a student by the surname Mavuso, because I was teaching English then in grade 12. And during that time, there were a lot of activities in language, like the prose, the poetry, and I was going to competition and I was winning. This particular boy, Yo, was my favorite, because he used to push me hard into getting to know the details of English. He used a dictionary like I never heard of it, because he used to memorize some very difficult words. Some I could not even know, but he was trying to tease me, trying to catch me if I know.
Test your own knowledge.
Yes, to test my own knowledge. So that boy stood out, and he passed with flying colors.
Ma'am, we've emphasized how you've been teaching for over 3 decades. Okay. So this time of the year is not new to you.
It's not.
It's not new to you. Children transitioning to different phases of their lives in their academic careers. We've got grade 7s going to grade 8, going to the big school. We've got grade 9s going to grade 10. I mean, they have to choose their career paths. I mean, basically. We've got matriculants who are now looking at entering the real world as we know it. What's your advice? As I'm sure many of them are sitting, panicking, am I going to make it? What's going to become of me? What's your advice to those?
You know, with the grade 8s, when they come to high school, they are overwhelmed by the environment, by new teachers, by new friends and everything. But we normally emphasize self-knowledge, self-awareness. And I'm happy that life orientation is under my department. That is our first topic. learners who come to grade 8 must know who they are, must know what they want. Because along the way, they will miss it if they don't, because there's a lot that is happening in high school. You know, this is South Africa. We have a challenge of drugs in our schools.
Yeah.
Although in our school we are trying by all means to control that because we are in the township. So they are getting a lot of new information. So that overwhelms them. Fortunately, in our school we have beautiful programs. From Friday this week, grade 8 is coming for the first time. They are going to be orientated the whole week.
Oh, wow.
bumb'INGOMSO used to be part of that program, so that they are acquainted with friends, with the new teachers, they know the school environment. We do a tour in the whole school. Our school is very big. We show them the classrooms, this and that, so that they are stabilized and they are comfortable.
From the beginning.
And then with grade 9, these are the ones who normally see themselves as not new. And they start to play truant. They start to see themselves as the bosses and the boss ladies. So those are, the grade 9 is a challenging group in most schools. In my research, I have discovered that most schools struggle with grade 9 because they start there to look at the subjects that they know that they are not going to proceed with them, like creative arts, technology. Yes, they know that those subjects are not going to the FET. But in our school, what we do in October, we call the parents, we put our subject streaming, we unpack the careers for each particular stream, so that learners and parents choose which path they are going to take when they get to grade 10. With grade 11s, this is a sweet class. Those ones are like adults. We all focused. They are focused. Then coming to grade 12, I think it's the anxiety that makes them not to see themselves proceeding, because now it's when they see that it's a reality. We are at the end of the road. Grade 12 has a lot of work, but the content is not that difficult compared to grade 11. Because if you manage to pass grade 11 on your own, simply you will pass grade 12. But in grade 12, there's a lot that you need to plan. So last week they were taught about planning, how to plan. Their grade head and the principal and a few teachers were here, giving them steps on how to manage their time, on how to deal with specific subjects.
Do you think that the language that the teachers use, and that maybe as parents also the language that the parents use towards certain subjects, creates that anxiety for children? Like if we keep saying, you need to focus when it comes to maths, but maybe we do not say that with history. We don't say, you need to focus when you speak. Do you think the way that we speak about these subjects as teachers and then as parents creates that anxiety?
That is a very important question. You know, in our last meeting with the current grade 12s, we talked more on it, that it's the parents. The first culprits are the parents. They put more pressure on their children, and their children see certain subjects as the subjects that are more important and others less important. And also the career guidance conveners in most universities, they mostly focus on science, accounting and other things. They neglect the humanities, although there are professions in humanities department. So you find them that they see other subjects more important, they put more weight in other subjects and less weight in other subjects. And another thing that we do in our school, we make it a point that we put a very strong person in life orientation, especially in grade 11 and 12. Because life orientation is the mother of all subjects. If you look at the content of life orientation, you find all subjects. So that is why we have to put a very strong person there who is going to make life orientation as a live subject, which goes to all these subjects, because when you look at a certain module in life orientation, you find that it is there in agriculture, it is there in life sciences, it is there in maths, it is there in history.
It shows how you can be a well-rounded person. You don't need to just focus on one thing. And I think then this, ma'am, brings me to my next question. You even earlier spoke about the fact that grade 9s are sometimes not able to see themselves progressing with certain subjects because they feel like these subjects are going to fall away and we're going to focus on these technical subjects. So as we know that in grade 9 there's an opportunity to maybe move into a TVET, or even after matric, if you pass, there's an opportunity to move to TVET colleges. I want to know, do schools speak about TVET colleges and encourage students or learners to pursue TVET colleges in the same vein that they do universities?
Yes, in our school we do. But the problem is the whole system of education is preaching about a child who is complete when he has got grade 12, which is becoming a problem now. Nobody speaks more about the TVET colleges, the vocational training and whatnot. It's only the mainstream program that is talked about by the department. So you find that now you say this and the department says this. And then when you talk to the parent, you find that the parent now looks at you as if you are undermining the child, and then you don't see any potential with the child. Although you are putting straight that there are other opportunities. Maybe this child is gifted in something else other than the academics. But we do talk about it.
Okay.
The teacher who is responsible for streaming the subjects and career pathing is talking straight about it. It is in our programs.
Love to hear that, because one of my favorite sayings, ma'am, is exposure expands expectation. The more we expose children to different career paths, the more they expect out of life as well. A thread that I've been following as you've been speaking is the fact that there's a relationship that is important that must happen for the child's benefit. The relationship between a parent, the school, civil society, government. I'm hearing as you're speaking that there's a role that each person or each sector needs to play. I'm interested to hear from you, what, as we're about to close off, what more can we do as parents, as teachers, as government? What more needs to be done to ensure that our children are not dropping out, number one, but even when they're at school, they are thriving? What do we need to do?
Thank you very much. Number one, there are two subjects that are undermined by the Department of Education, creative arts and life orientation. You know, if the department can prioritize those two, because we know with the creative arts, we have a lot of creative learners here, but the department does not employ. In fact, there is no training specifically for those two subjects. They are just put and given anyone who has a shortage of periods is given the creative arts and life orientation, which is very, very wrong, because there are learners who have a lot of energy. They want to do something. They want to attend to a lot of things, to do a lot of things with their bodies, but there's no teacher who is specializing in that, dedicated to that. And with life orientation, also in the lower grades, there is no one who is particularly put to teach learners that, because life orientation is very rich with life skills, which are going to make learners to be stable and be rounded, and children who are in total.
I think these are simple solutions. Yes. It's not rocket science. I think these are simple solutions. I'm hoping that when parents get to see this and other people in our community, we will all rally together to take the necessary steps to make sure that a child is given the resources they need to thrive.
Of course.
Mrs Ngcebetsha, I can't thank you enough for availing yourself, for the nuggets of wisdom that you've dropped. I'm just so grateful. But just one last thing before we go, I just want you to look straight into the camera and give advice. What are you saying to our young people as they start this year?
As the young ones start this year, I'm going to back to what I said earlier, that knowing yourself, self-awareness, self-development is priority. Because when you're at school, you live your life. Even if you have a friend, you come to school as an individual and you leave the school as an individual. So knowing yourself, what you want, what you like, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, is the best thing for one to succeed in education, even at school, because there's a lot that is going on inside the school. So if you don't know, you are someone who is not sure of what he or she wants, you will lose the track. This is my advice.
Thank you so much.
Go.